Hello everyone, welcome back all of you. So far we have completed a lot of lectures of general theory of relativity. So far we have completed a basic idea of general theory of relativity. As far as we have completed the Galilean transformations, equations and derivation of for the same. Also we have discussed in the last video the Michelson-Morley experiment, which lead us to the special theory of relativity, and in that one video we have discussed the null result or zero result of Michelson-Morley experiment, which was performed by Michelson-Morley to identify the velocity or speed of ether, or simply to identify the existence of a hypothetical medium known as ether. So in that particular experiment there was no achievement got by the Michelson-Morley, even if they got the Nobel Prize, because they had proved in that video, in that particular experiment, that there is no kind of hypothetical medium, and which was again in the I think that was in the early 19th century, Einstein had proved that there is no such kind of medium in the universe, and the speed of light in all kinds of systems or all kinds of frame of references remains unchanged or remains constant as c, and 3 times 10 to the power 8 meter per second. And the very good explanation of Michelson-Morley null result was given by many scientists like Fitzgerald and Einstein as well. And if I talk about the very good explanation of Michelson-Morley experiment and the discardation of the hypothetical medium ether was done by Einstein in the early 19th century, and that particular kind of experiment done by Michelson-Morley lead us to the special theory of relativity, whose postulate were given by the greatest among great, Einstein. Okay, and what was the postulates of a special theory of relativity? Let us discuss them in a brief detail. Okay, so first postulate of a special theory of relativity, the special theory of relativity. So there are total 2 postulates given by Einstein. One is all the physical laws or basic laws of the physics or science remains unchanged when we talk about different kinds of systems. Its simple meaning is that all the kinds of physical laws like Newton's law of motion, equations of motions, and any physical phenomena are same for different kinds of individual frame of references. It simply talks about if there is a frame of reference S and a phenomena is happened in this kind of frame of reference, then all the basic laws related to that particular phenomena will be same for observer which is observing the same phenomena from in this frame of reference, and if the same kind of phenomena is happening in another kind of frame of reference S dash, then all the physical laws related to that particular phenomena in S dash will be same for another kind of observer which is standing in the S dash frame. So this simply can be understood by a simple sentence that all physical laws are covariance in different frame of references. This is the first postulate of special theory of relativity given by Einstein. And the other postulate, which is a very good postulate of special theory of relativity, is that it talks about the speed of light. the absolute nature of speed of light, and which is simply leads us that the speed of light observed from any kind of frame of reference, even by a lot of number of observers, is always it is always remains same. It simply means that the speed of light is always constant and have the value of 3 times 10 to the power 8 meter per second for all kinds of observer, whether an observer is moving, whether an observer is at rest. Okay, so speed of light is constant or is 3 times 10 to the power 8 meter per second for all observers or in any frame of reference. Okay, so it doesn't matter that there is a frame of reference which is moving with a particular velocity and we are observing a speed of light in that particular kind of frame of reference. There will no change in the speed of light. Let's say there is a signal of light moving in this way. Let's say it is a torch, okay, and from this torch a signal is propagating in this direction, and there is a observer in S frame and another observer is in S dash frame. Then if both the observer observes the speed of the signal which is coming from the torch, it is simply the light signal, then the speed of the light signal observed by this kind of observer will be 3 times 10 to the power 8 meter per second. And as far as the observations given by this observer O dash is concerned for the same kind of light speed of light signal, then he will say the speed of light is simply 3 times 10 to the power 8 meter per second, whether it is moving with some kind of velocity v with respect to O. It's mean that if there is observer which is moving with some kind of velocity v in the comparison of an observer O which is at rest in S frame, both will observe the speed of light of a light signal same. And what is that? That is 3 times 10 to the power 8 meter per second. So this is what the exactly meaning by the second postulate of special theory of relativity given by the Einstein, which is speed of light is constant having this value or is 3 times 10 to the power 8 meter per second for all observers or in any frame of reference. Okay, so these are the two postulates what we will use in our next topic. So just remember these two postulates of special theory of relativity, because this will be helpful, very helpful to generalize the Lorentz transformation what we are going to discuss over here. Okay, so now let us talk about the Lorentz transformation. So before we discuss the Lorentz transformation, first we should ensure that why we need the Lorentz transformation. Okay, as in the last videos we have looked at that whenever a body moves with some such kind of velocity that is comparable to speed of light, then the equations given by the Galileo which are simply given by the Galilean transformations varies. So what exactly the variation in the Galilean transformation for such kind of phenomena or for such kind of observations which are related to that particular velocity which is comparable to the speed of light, then there is a change, there is a variation in Galilean transformation. And what about the Galilean transformation? Let me write them here. This is x dash equals to x minus vt, or y dash equals y minus vt, and this is z dash equals to z minus, and this is vt. Here this is vz, component of velocity in z direction, this is y and this is x. Okay, and this is simply t equals to t dash. Okay, so whenever we discuss about such kind of velocity which is comparable to speed of light, there will be a change in the Galilean transformation equations in nature. Okay, so that's why we have to convert this Gaussian transformation, or we have to make such kind of generalizing coordinates to describe this kind of phenomena which are related to the speed of light, which are related to comparable to the speed of light. That's why Lorentz, scientist Lorentz, have given such kinds of mathematical interpretation to generalize the coordinates of space kinds or space-time coordinates. Okay, so in order to do that, let us first, let me note it here as Lorentz transformation. So our topic is Lorentz transformation. Okay, so in order to do that, let us first consider two kind of frame of references. One is S frame of reference. Let's say this is Z and this is Y. This is S frame of reference, which is at rest, and there is a origin here. Another kind of frame of reference we are considering here, which is moving with velocity v in x-axis with respect to this S frame. This is S dash frame. Okay, and the coordinates will be considering this frame reference as x dash, this is z dash, this is y dash. Let me write here capital letters. Okay, now if we consider an event P happening at somewhere, let's say here, then the coordinates of this event observed by an observer O, which is at rest in this frame of reference, will be x, y, z and t. Here I am taking the space coordinates including t in Cartesian coordinates x, y, z and t. Okay, now same kind of event will be observed by another observer O dash in frame of reference S dash. He will or she will observe the coordinate of P as x dash, y dash, z dash and t dash. He will say or she will say this event is happening according to this kind of frame of coordinates, okay, and at time t dash. This phenomena P is situated according to O dash at coordinates x dash, y, z and t dash, and it is happening at an instant of time t dash. For the same kind of event which is observing by this observer, he will say or she will say the event P is situated at coordinate x, y and z, and it is happening at particular time instant t. Okay, now by common sense we can use the Gaussian transformation in order to find the relation between x dash and x. Okay, so x dash is nothing but k times let's say this is x minus vt. Here k is as proportionality constant, because we can simply understand here that whatever the change in position of P, that will be in the same order for both kinds of frame of reference or both kinds of frame observer. Let's say P shifted from somewhere, P shifted from here to there. So whatever be the change in the coordinates of P from point this to that, they will be proportional when they will observe by an observer O and then again O dash. So the relation between x dash and x will be proportional. So here k is a proportionality constant, here the proportional sign was there and I have make that proportional sign into the equal. So this is the k proportionality constant, right? So this is for S dash frame of reference. Okay, now in the same way we can write the relation for x. Okay, this is for x dash, now we can write simply for x. So x can be written as k times x dash plus vt. Now if the same phenomena is observed by this O observer, then that okay, let me write, let me make you understand here is this P of event when observed by O, then it can also be appropriate to say that if this frame of reference S dash is moving with velocity v, then observer O dash will appear that this frame of reference is moving back with the same kind of velocity v but in the opposite direction. Okay, because v this S dash is moving in the x-axis positive direction. So any one observer in the S dash will appear this kind of frame of reference as moving back in the x negative direction. Okay, so in order to find the coordinates, x direction coordinates, this is x, we can simply replace as x by x dash and v as v minus v dash, because this frame of reference will like move as velocity minus v. Okay, so I have just replaced v by minus v dash and x by x dash, and here the relation is same because the event P will be observed by both the observer by applying the same rule. This is the first postulate of special theory of relativity, that all the phenomena, all the rules, all the physical laws are same for all kinds of frame of references, whether it is moving or whether it is rest. So the event P observed by S frame of reference or S frame of reference will have the same kind of nature of its equation. So that's why these two equations are of the same nature. Okay, so let's say this is equation number 1 and this is equation number 2 here. Okay, now in order to find the velocity of value of k, we can replace here x dash in this equation. Okay, so this will be x equals k, and x dash is nothing but k times of x minus vt, and this is plus vt here. Okay, now this will be x equals k square, I am multiplying k in the bracket, this is k square x minus k square vt, and plus this k will also multiply in the vt, so this will be k vt. Okay, this is going to equal x. Now I can make this equation. Okay, here actually this is t dash. Okay, because the phenomena P is observed by the observer O dash at time t dash instant. So this is for, okay, this is for S and this is for S dash. Okay, this is t dash here. Okay, so this is also t dash, this is also t dash. Now I can make this equation as equals to kvt dash, that will equals to, this factor will be here, so x will be common, that will be 1 minus k square. Okay, k square x will be of negative here and x will be taken as common, so x is common, 1 minus k square will be remain. This minus k square vt will be in the LHS and will become of positive k square vt, right? Now this is t dash equal x 1 minus k square plus k square bt and whole divided by this kb. So I am dividing individually, this is kb here and this is kb here. Okay, now this one power of k is cancelled and v is completely cancelled by v. What are the rest terms? Rest terms are t dash equal, this is x upon kb times 1 minus k square bracket close plus this is k t only. So this is, now we have the value of t dash. Okay, in order to find the value of k, we can now consider another event. Okay, now let's say at time t equals t dash, I am considering an event at time t equals to t dash at 0 second. Okay, so what is the exactly meaning by t equal t dash at 0 second? It simply means that when S dash frame of reference was coincided on S frame, then origin of both the frame of references were also coinciding. So at time t equals to t dash mean that at the same time when the same both the frame of reference will but at the same situation at time t equals to t dash equals to 0 second. So I am at that condition, at that particular instant of time. Let us consider a light signal is emitted, okay, and this is going in this direction. So you know very well the speed of light or the light signal will move with the velocity c. According to the second postulate of special theory of relativity, that the speed of light is always c, 3 times 10 to the power 8 meter per second. So that light signal when is observed from S frame of reference, then after time t, let's say after time t, this signal is here, okay. So whatever the distance covered by that particular light signal, that will be x equals ct, distance equals velocity into time. So after time t, light signal having velocity c will cover a distance x, so x equals to c into t, distance equal velocity into time, right? Now this same signal when observed by another observer O dash, then according to that observer the distance traveled by that light signal observing from S dash, mind it, x dash will be c t dash, okay. Here let me make you understand, after time t the light signal has covered x distance in S frame of reference. So according to S frame of reference, that distance is x equals to ct, okay, and that light signal when observed by an observer O dash in S dash frame of reference, then it will cover x dash distance after time t dash, because we are observing the light signal in the S frame of reference, S dash frame of reference. So that will be x dash equal to ct. Here again no change in the nature of the equations, and also we have automatically used the second postulate of special theory of relativity, which simply tells that there is no change in the speed of light whether you are moving with the velocity v or you are at rest in any kind of frame of reference. The speed of light will always be constant, c here and c dash here. I didn't write it as c dash, I have written only c here as well as here, okay. So this is a phenomena which is happening at t equals to t dash equals to 0 conditions, okay. Now our purpose is to calculate the value of k here. Now I can find the relation between t dash and x here also. So let me write the relation between t dash and x dash. So I am putting, let's say this equation is 3 here, okay. I am putting the value of t dash from this equation 3 in this equation, as well as the value of x dash from the equation 1. I am substituting equation 1 and equation 3 in the equation number 4. Let's say this equation is 4 and this equation is 5. Okay, so I am making the substitution from equation 1 and 3 as well as 4 in equation number 5. Okay, so let me write down the value of x dash from equation number 1. This is k times x minus vt, okay, this is for the x dash, and equals c into t dash. What is the value of t dash? This is from equation number 3. This is nothing but x upon kb, okay, 1 minus k square and plus this c, this complete c will be in the multiply of all the factor, this one and also here this one. So I have multiplied c in the first factor here. Now I am going to multiply c in the kt, so that will be c kt. Okay, so up till now I have made the substitution from equation 1 and equation number 3 in the equation number 5. Now let me do the substitution of equation number 4 in equation number this again. Okay, so this will be k times x. What is x? X is ct from equation number 4. So this is ct minus vt equals C, again this is Ct, so that will become C square T divided by Kb and 1 minus K square and plus Ct. Okay, now this is Kct minus Kvt equals C square T over Kv. This is 1 minus K square plus Ct. Okay, in the LHS this is Kct or Ct and this is Ct. So both are same, they are in equal, so they can be cancelled out. Again this is minus K Vt equals C square T and 1 minus K square divided by Kv. The 1 power of T is cancelled, complete T is cancelled out. Okay, and this one here is minus K square V square, okay, equal C square times 1 minus K square. Now you can easily see that in this equation only K, C and B are appearing, so easily we can find the value of K from this equation in terms of C and B. Okay, so this will be K square V square equals C square minus, and this is C square K square, correct. So let me put this factor from the RHS into the LHS. This will be C square K square minus K square B square equals C square. Okay, or K square is taken as common. This is C square minus V square equals C square, and this is K square equals C square divided by C square minus V square, right. I can take C square as common from the denominator, that will be C square upon C square, and here 1 will be remain, and this will become B square over C square because C square is not here. Okay, now this complete C square is cancelled by this C square, and the remain is C upon 1 minus V square upon C square. Okay, this is going to equal K square. Let me write this equation in terms of K. So this will be K equal plus minus, I am taking only the plus factor in the consideration. This will be only, okay, this C is neglecting here. Okay, so this will be only 1 upon 1 minus B square upon C square is square root. So this is the value of K what we have found up till now. Okay, so the approximately 30% work is done up till now. Now I am going to put this value of K in this equation number 3 in order to find the value of T dash and X dash. Okay, so let me do that. So okay, I am rubbing this factor, okay, this complete factors. So just remember the value of K, this is 1 over under root 1 minus B square over C square. So put the value of K in equation, this is K in equation 3 in this equation. Okay, so this will be T dash equal, okay, let me make this equation more appropriate. I am taking K as common from this equation. The form of this equation will be, when I would take the common K, this will be only T here and plus here K is not in the numerator, so that will be in the denominator, and already there is a K here, so that will be the K square. So this will be X over K square V and 1 minus K square. Okay, now it will be appropriate to put the value of K square from our last consideration in this equation. Okay, now I am putting the value of K here. So K was K equals, K is here 1 upon under root 1 minus v square upon c square. This is the value of k, and whenever I will put the value of k square, I will not use the square root here. Okay, so because k square equals 1 minus v square over c square only, right? So t dash equals k is complete value. Okay, this is 1 upon under root, remember the under root, 1 minus v square over c square, bracket, this is t here, and plus x upon k square. This is k square again here. This is 1 minus v square upon c square only. Okay, sorry, this is k square here. This will be 1 upon 1 minus v square upon c square here. Okay, because k square is the square of this value, taking the square of both sides to find the value of k square, this will be 1 upon 1 minus v square over c square only. So this is here, and multiplied with the v square. Again, this is 1 minus k square again. So k square is nothing but 1 upon 1 minus v square upon c square. Okay, this is done. Now let this factor as going as it is. This is 1 minus v square upon c square square root, and this is t plus this will be x upon v, and 1 upon 1 minus v square upon c square. I have written this v in the initial multiply of this factor. Okay, and this will be, if I multiply this factor with 1, this will be same 1 minus b square over c square. This is minus 1. Okay, and upon this complete factor, this is 1 minus v square upon c square. This factor is in the multiply of this factor. Okay, here. Now this 1 is cancelled by this one. Okay, also you can see here is that this complete factor is cancelled by this complete factor here, because this is the numerator and this is the denominator. Okay, and this is the numerator, this is the denominator, and this is again the denominator. So this factor can be cancelled out by this simple algebra. The rest terms are t dash equals 1 upon under root 1 minus v square upon c square here, and in the bracket the remain are t plus x upon v multiply minus v square upon c square only. Okay, now 1 power of v is cancelled out, and rest are t dash equal, this is only t minus vx upon c square. I am repeating, t minus vx upon c square. This is t minus vx upon c square, and complete is multiplied by 1 upon under root 1 minus v square over c square. So let me write down here it as 1 minus v square upon c square. This is what we have the value of t dash. Okay, so you can easily see here. Okay, let me put this in the bracket. So up till now we have found the value of t dash into this. Okay, so I can put the value of t dash here in order to find the value of x dash, or simply I can find the value of x dash in order to find the Lorentz transformation, which are led by the Gaussian transformation here. Okay, so the value of x dash will be here. So this is what we have the value of t dash. Again, from this equation I can write the value of x dash equal k, and what was the k? K was 1 upon under root 1 minus b square over c square. Okay, and this is in the multiply of x minus vt. So x minus vt divided by under root 1 minus v square upon c square. This is what we have the value of x dash. Let me write this value here. This is t dash equal t minus vx upon c square divided by under root 1 minus v square upon c square. Okay, and there will be no change in the coordinate for y dash as well as z dash, because there is no displacement of the frame of reference in y direction as well as in the z direction. So that will be same, y dash equals to y and z dash equals to z. Now the thing which should be pointed out here is that when we were discussing about the Galilean transformations, then we had written t dash equals t, okay, because in that particular situation we have regarded that t is absolute, time is absolute. But as far as the Lorentz transformation are concerned, you can easily see here that t dash is not equals to t, it is something else. So whatever the change in the t, it is due to the Lorentz transformation. Let us understand this in a different way, different look. If I write the Galilean transformation here, they are x dash equal x minus bt simply, right? And simple t dash equals t, and y dash equals to y and z dash equals to z. There will no change in the y and z. Okay. Now the thing what you should remember in your mind is that whenever we will deal such kind of event or such kind of velocity which is very less, then we will use the Galilean transformation. And how much less the velocities would be, like the velocity of a simple moving vehicle, like a two-wheeler, like a bike, like a bus, like a truck, like any even like a aeroplane. Okay, so let's say the velocity of a bus is generally 54 km per hour. Okay, we are just supposing this phenomena. Then in meter per second, this will be 15 meter per second. Okay, so 54 km per hour speed of a bus is just a simple a very low speed in the comparison of the speed of light, which is simply it takes 15 meters in 1 second. The meaning by 54 km per hour is that it covers 15 meter in 1 second. Okay, so whenever we deal such kind of small velocities of vehicles or events, then we will use the Galilean transformation, in which the time is absolute, the time can be taken as absolute. Even when we discuss about some greater velocity like aeroplane or jet aeroplane velocity, that will be approximately 10 times the velocity of like buses, or 10 or 100 times. Okay, let's say 100 times. Then there will no change, that will be only this much amount in a meter per second. If I talk about the jet aeroplane velocity or speed, so it's mean that 1500 or 1500 meter intervals in 1 second. So this is a velocity which is just which is some greater velocity in the comparison of the velocity of buses, but it is just far, this is far away the velocity of speed of light, the velocity of light. Okay, now I hope you will understand that whenever we deal such a small kind of velocity, it will be appropriate to use the Galilean transformation in order to understand that particular phenomena. Okay, but whenever the phenomena the velocities are just comparable to the speed of light, or speed of anything is comparable to the speed of light, like in some experiments electron may have such kind of velocity, or meson particles usually have such kind of velocity, and the exchange particle, graviton particles even have such kind of velocity. Then to use the Gaussian transformation will not be appropriate, irrelevant, that will be irrelevant. So in that particular phenomena or events, we will use the Lorentz transformation. Okay, so the Lorentz transformations are used in such kind of phenomena, in such kind of cases, whenever the velocity of an object or a thing is comparable to the speed of light. See here. Okay, now let us consider another fact, that in what situations Gaussian transformations lead to Lorentz transformation. This question is frequently asked in some competitive examinations or the university examinations also. Okay, so in what situations Gaussian transformation lead to Lorentz transformation? Okay, so as I had discussed to you, that for the less velocity, for a small velocity or small speeds, we use this one, and for higher speed speed approximately equals to c, approximately equal, not equals to c, we use the Lorentz transformations. Okay, so now let us check that the Lorentz transformation are good as the Gaussian transformations or not. So let's say the velocity of a thing is very less, like a bus. If we apply the classical phenomena or the macro phenomena, simply like a bus, the speed of bus, if I put the speed of bus, normal speed of bus, then the velocity or speed of bus in the comparable of c is very less, and the square of that particular less value will also be less in the comparison of c, because here square is taken, and this complete factor will be subtracted from 1. Okay, so this factor will be very, very, very small. Okay, because something will be something greater, also because something less, something less will be, because there is a if I put here 54 square divided by 3 times 10 to the power 8 square, this value will be very less and it will be subtracted from 1, so this factor will be negligible. Okay, so this factor will be approximately 1. Okay, so in that particular situation, x dash equal x minus vt will only exist. This factor will be approximately 1 here. Okay, because this factor is very less factor, approximately 0. So 1 minus some 0 or less quantity will also be 1. So the x component will be like this. Again, if we put same kind of velocity in the time t dash here, again the situation is same. This factor will vanish out, and this factor will vanish out. Again we will put here as the velocity v here, this factor will also be very less. Okay, so this factor will become as approximately 0 in the comparison of c square, because 54 is here and in the denominator 3 times 10 to the power 8 and its square is taken, so this factor will be very less. So in that particular situation, only t dash equals to t will be exist. So here how the Gaussian transformations lead to Lorentz transformation. Okay, so if I would like to sum up here that for the small speeds or small events, in which include the small speeds of objects, we use the Gaussian transformation in order to understand that particular phenomena or physical laws. And whenever the speed of a particle which is comparable to the speed of light is concerned, we use simply the Lorentz transformation, not the Gaussian transformation. And what situations Gaussian transformation lead to Lorentz transformation? When the velocities of any objects or all the objects are very less, then the Gaussian transformation simply leads to the Lorentz transformation here. Okay, so I think this will be appropriate or enough for this video. Now let me write down here the Gaussian transformation, Lorentz transformation simultaneously. So Gaussian transformation and here we will write as Lorentz transformation. Okay, so Gaussian transformation for a particular event are x dash equals x minus vt, and t is absolute. Okay, and this is x dash equal x minus vt over under root 1 minus v square upon c square, and t dash equals t minus vx upon c square upon under root 1 minus v square upon c square. Now simultaneously you can see here that time is not absolute when we use the spatial theory of relativity. There is a change in the structure of the time in the comparison of the simple time. Okay, that's why the concepts of time dilation is inserted in the spatial theory of relativity. Okay, so in the next video we will discuss the Lorentz transformation invariances. We will look at the physical laws, how the physical laws are invariant under the Lorentz transformation as we have done in the Gaussian transformation. Okay, so in the next video we will look at the Lorentz transformation variances and the other applications of spatial theory of relativity by using the Lorentz transformation as time dilation or length contraction and velocity additive nature. Okay, so I think this is enough for this video. Let's meet in the next video.